for the discussion is what is PCOS, who can get the particular PCOS, what are the symptoms associated with the PCOS. These are very important to know what are the symptoms associated with it. What are the causes why you can get a PCOS? Can you become pregnant if you have PCOS? This is also an important topic that needs to be addressed when you have a PCOS. And what are the other health related problems which can be linked to a PCOS? Having discussed this brief overview of all these particular topics, then we go to the next level wherein we discuss how it is diagnosed, how it can be treated, what are the home remedies that are available to control it, what are the medicinal aspect of treating it from the medical perspective, what are the treatment options that are available for you to become pregnant, how a PCOS can affect a particular pregnancy we'll also discuss, and what are the preventive care that should be taken if you have PCOS and if you are pregnant. So these are a list of all the topics that I'm going to discuss in this particular session on the PCOS. So let's get started with what is PCOS. So PCOS is basically termed as a common health problem. I call it as a common health problem because, as I mentioned before, it has been found nowadays in a variety age groups, in the girls as well as in the women. That's what makes me say it is a common health problem. And it is basically caused by an imbalance in your reproductive hormones. So there is sort of an imbalance created in your reproductive hormones that is responsible for the creation of the PCOS. Now the area that has been affected is the ovaries, which is one part of the female reproductive system. So the area that has been targeted by PCOS is basically ovaries. Now what is the use of the ovary? The ovary is responsible for making the egg that is released during each particular month, basically during your ovulation phase, if you have a healthy menstrual cycle. So ovaries, as we know, is basically responsible for the production of the female egg, which gets released during the ovulation phase of your normal menses cycle. And ultimately then it goes to the fallopian tube where the fertilization can occur and the rest of the process may be initiated. So the area that is affected by the PCOS itself is the ovaries, which are responsible for creating that particular egg. So what happens if we have a PCOS? So since the ovaries are affected, definitely the production of egg is also affected. So as such, what the PCOS can do is it can do two things. The first thing is the egg may not develop as it should be. So definitely for a fertilization of the egg to take place, there are some parameters that the egg should satisfy. It can be in terms of the size, it can be in terms of the quantity, in terms of the volume, in terms of the content, that is the matter inside it. So if it lacks in these particular parameters, then definitely the egg that is produced may not ultimately be fertilized. So as such, the two problems that are associated is first one, the egg may not develop as it should be. And the second particular problem is it may not be released at all during your ovulation. So these are the two problems basically are associated with your PCOS. That is, the egg may fail to develop as it is supposed to develop. And the second is it may not be released at all into your fallopian tube during your ovulation phase. So what are the effects that are basically felt by a particular girl or by a particular woman is the first common symptom is the missed periods. So definitely there is a particular menses gap of more than particular 1 month, 2 months, 3 months and so on. So a common symptoms is you get irregular periods and also definitely irregularity arises in terms of the missed periods. Definitely for the woman who try to conceive, definitely they are unable to conceive because of these reasons. As such, we treat them as a fertility problem in a woman. The last important part, which is little bit that needs to be taken care of, is it can also result in a development of the cyst in the ovaries. So what are cysts? The cysts are basically a small fluid which is filled with the sex. So there are chances that you may get the cyst may be developed in your ovaries if you have PCOS. So the common effects are basically irregular periods, which ultimately results in the fertility problems. And definitely there are also very high chances of development of the cyst in your ovaries. So by this slide, you have a clear idea of what is PCOS, why it is created, and what kind of problem it creates, which ultimately results in these effects which have been seen in a particular woman. So let us now to try to identify the same scenario in a graphical way. So this is the place, so I will not go into the details of this structure. So this is your female reproductive system, and this is the part that is ovary, as I told you, that has been affected by your PCOS. So a normal particular ovary may look something like this, whereas if you have PCOS, we basically call it as polycystic ovary, and it will take, or it will look somewhat like this. So you find a lot of particular circles like this, which we basically term it as the follicles. So you may find a lot of them here inside your ovary, which is little bit abnormal compared to this particular figure. So let us be more clear into it. So again, this is your ovary. This is your female reproductive system. I will not go into the details of it. So if this is a normal ovary, how it looks from outside, definitely the one that is having polycystic ovary, that is one having the PCOS, the ovary may look somewhat like this. So you may find small globules like structure seen in the ovary. This, if we take the sectional view of the ovary, the inside, a normal ovary, you may look something like this, whereas in the polycystic, you may find a lot of particular follicles associated inside your particular ovary. So basically this particular figure and this figure somewhat matches. Now let us be more clear into it with this diagram. So if you take a normal ovary, as we know, the function of the ovary is to produce an egg, and which is released during the ovulation phase in the menstrual cycle. So that production of the particular eggs basically takes this particular cycle. So if you see here, the egg might be basically call it as primordial follicle. Then it gets developed into a primary follicle, followed by secondary particular follicle, and ultimately it matures, and then it's released during the ovulation phase into the fallopian tube. So this is a normal healthy particular cycle of the, of the egg generation that takes place if your ovaries are normal. But if you have a polycystic ovary, you may find that till here the developmental process was normal, but from here onwards, the development of this particular follicle into a mature follicle has failed. As such, these follicles remain in the same state, and it results in the generation of multiple this kind of follicles. And that ultimately results in your PCOS, and that's why we basically call it as polycystic ovary. So basically you find a lot of cysts inside your particular ovary, and as such it gets the name polycystic ovary. So basically you'll find multiple immature follicles which are there in your ovary, and as such a name PCOS has been derived from there. So this slide has made us more clear into what is PCOS, which particular area is affected, and what actually happens in the normal ovary in the process of generation of the egg, and if you have PCOS, how that particular process is affected. Let us now go to the next topic and try to find out who can get it. So any particular age after puberty, so any particular girl after achieving a puberty is prone to getting PCOS. That's why I said you have a wide range of age group who may be affected by the PCOS. Further, the study says there are 5 to 10% of the women who are between 15 to 44 years age group have a chances of developing PCOS. Of course, day by day, this particular range is increasing, but let's stick to this particular data what we have. So 5 to 10% of the women in the age group of 15 to 44 are prone to PCOS. The women who are in the group of 20s and 30s are more prone compared to this particular group, that is 15, that is in your adolescence age, and 44 moving towards your menopausal age. Whereas the in-between section of the women who are in 20s and 30s, they become more vulnerable for developing the PCOS. Now, this particular PCOS is not related to any race. It is not related to any ethnicities. So it is any particular woman of any race, any particular geographical area is prone to get PCOS. Next thing, the risk of you getting a PCOS increases if you are obese. And what is also important is if any of your family member has a history of PCOS, then definitely your chances of getting a PCOS also increases. So the high risk factors are of being obese and a family history of having a PCOS. Having particular said this, let us try to analyze what do you mean by the obesity. So I always try to share this a very important particular picture which needs to be understood is whenever any particular patient will approach you, based on the look of the particular patient, you can definitely figure out about these parameters. So basically, the parameters that have been taken into account is the waist measurement. If it is greater than 35 inch, so if your waist is greater than 35 inch, or if your waist is bigger than the hip. So if your waist is bigger than your hip area, we basically term the particular shape that your body is having is of type apple, which is basically obese, and definitely you have gained a substantial amount of weight. So if this ratio to this ratio is greater, definitely you see here that your body structure takes the shape of an apple. Whereas if it is not the case, then definitely you will find it takes the particular shape of an pear fruit. So this particular area is less than this particular area, that is your waist. So it takes the shape of a pear. So I always explain these concepts in terms of the apple and a pear example to keep track of your obesity and always to keep track of your healthy weight. So in the first picture, you may find that this woman is little bit obese, and if you see her figure, it may resemble a apple fruit. Whereas if you see the normal healthy particular woman, definitely the body shape may resemble that of a pear. Same thing is explained here. This is in terms of the apple. This will be in terms of the pear. So if you try to remember this, then understanding the particular further concepts becomes much easy. So let us go to the next slide and discuss what are the symptoms that you get associated with your PCOS. The first and the foremost symptom is irregular menstrual cycle. Sometimes you may have a missed periods, or sometimes you have altogether stopped particular menses, and if the menses stops for a long period of time, then definitely it may also result in a case of amenorrhea. Sometimes you may also get fewer menses, that is less than 8 in a particular year. Now I would like to focus here is usually in a normal particular menses phase, what we call is basically we expect you to get either 11 to 13 menstrual periods in a gap of 1 year. But if you get a particular, suppose 8 menses in a year, it means definitely you are getting a menses after 35 days. And that results in generation of irregular menstrual cycle. There are also cases wherein you may get more frequent particular menses, and the number of menses that you might get in a year may exceed the boundary limit that was say 30. So if you start getting 15 or 16 menses in a year, definitely it means for some months you have got more than one menses. So that is also a particular symptom that is at times associated with the PCOS. The next prominent factor with the PCOS is too much of your hair growth. This is happening because usually there is a hormone testosterone which is more prominent in a male, and that is responsible for the generation of the hair growth in a man at different body parts. And usually the level of this hormone in a woman is very low or minimal. But with a woman with PCOS, this hormone tends to increase its level in women, and as such, the woman starts showing the characteristics of a man in terms of the hair growth. That's why you may find the hair growth is more prominent, and at those particular places where they're not supposed to get the hair, the woman starts getting the hair. So definitely the area where the hair growth is supposed to be common in men, the woman starts getting the hair. It's basically because of that hormone. And the condition associated with this is basically is called as hirsutism. And basically it's a 70% of the PCOS cases show this particular symptom. So that's why we basically call it as a very prominent particular symptom in terms of the PCOS. The next particular symptom that you may get is the acne. You may get the acne on the face, chest, upper back, but this is not that a prominent factor for the PCOS, unlike your hair growth. Next prominent factor that comes is your hair tends to become more thin and you tend to lose a particular hair. Again, this is more characteristics in a man. So a woman starts observing this particular characteristics in her because of the PCOS. You tend to gain weight suddenly and you may find very difficulty in losing that weight. So if there is a sudden increase in a weight within a short gap of time, definitely there are chances that you might be suffering from the PCOS. Other prominent factor is also darkening of the skin. So basically, the darkening of the skin occurs around your neck region, around your groin area, and also underneath your breast. So these are the prominent particular areas where you may find darkening of your skin. So basically any doctor, if any patient approaches you with this, these parameters needs to be checked in the first examination. You may also get the skin texts. So you may find the excess of the flaps of the skin under the armpits or under the neck area. So these are also common. And definitely these are all the things which are listed down here are the external parameters. And the last one which I listed down is only after doing a scan, you will come to know that there are multiple cysts which are present in your ovaries, and that enables us to categorize that patient as a case of PCOS. But definitely this is not available externally. You need to go for ultrasound and then only this becomes more evident. So having listed down a possible symptoms, and the prominent ones among them is irregular menses, hair growth, thinning of the hair, sudden increase in the weight, darkening of the skin. These are termed as more prominent features which are externally visible in case of the PCOS patients. For more confirmation, you can go for a scan of the ovary wherein these things will make it more evident. I listed down some of the particular pictures here of the excess hair growth. So you may see from the picture itself that you may find a particular facial hair growth here. You may also find on this picture the facial hair growth. You may find the hair growth on your chest like that of a man in a woman. You may find a particular hair growth on your particular tummy area. You may also find a lot of hair growth on your chest, same like this, but here it is more prominent. The neck particular area, the folds that I was talking about is this. And you may also find a prominent hair growth on your back. So these are a prominent feature that you can easily noticeable once you examine the patients, and definitely from this you can conclude if there are any chances of having a PCOS or not. Other particular factors are your hair loss, as I said. So definitely hair loss can be very prominent compared to your previous particular lifespan where you didn't observe a particular so much amount of hair loss compared to after acquiring the PCOS. So the thinning of the hair can go to this level. You may feel bald like this. So these are all also common symptoms in case of the PCOS. So this is also one more picture which I have listed down over here, which indicates the thinning of the hair. You may have hair on the lips, chin. You may have the hair on the chest. You have an apple-shaped particular body, which indicates you are obese. You have ovarian cyst, which can be diagnosed after the scan. You have infertility problem. Then you have missed particular period problem. You have darkening of the skin at the groin area. You have excess weight. So these are the symptoms that are basically associated with your PCOS. So what causes PCOS? So basically, I would like to highlight, of course, there are more reasons also associated with it, but I would like to highlight only two reasons, that is high level of androgen. Now, androgen is basically called as a male hormone, and higher the particular, if that level of the particular hormone is more than the normal particular level, then what it does, it prevents the ovaries from releasing the egg during your ovulation cycle. And as such, since the egg will not be released into your fallopian tube, the chances of you conceiving almost drops down to zero. They are also responsible, as I told you before, for the excess hair growth and also for the acne. So the hormone that is basically responsible, that is a male hormone, which we basically term it as the androgen, and this is responsible for two factors, that it prevents the release of the egg. As I told you, this is also one of the symptoms that you have a PCOS, and which ultimately results in the fertility problems, and also your excess of the hair growth and acne. So along with this, your progesterone hormone, the testosterone hormone, also takes into account. Sorry, it's a testosterone. Next one is high level of insulin. So this is another hormone which basically controls how your food that you eat can be changed into energy. So it is responsible for burning your glucose levels and generating the energy which can be ultimately used by the muscles for your day-to-day work. So if this hormone starts interfering with the way your food can be burned to produce the energy, it may ultimately result in increase in a particular glucose levels in your body. So many women, in this case, because of the high level of insulin, they become insulin resistant. Especially it is more common in a woman who are overweight or obese. Now, I would like to distinguish here the difference between overweight and obesity. Obesity is a case wherein you find a person obese right from the birth, and gradually as the person is growing, the obesity parameters also increases. So the body also increases in that direction. Overweight is a sudden increase in your weight in a short span of time. So we need to clearly distinguish between what is overweight and what is obesity. So a woman, if they have high level of insulin, she's more prone to insulin resistance. Then it is found more commonly in a woman who is overweight and who is obese, and definitely having unhealthy eating habits. And definitely, if your physical activities are less, then definitely you are more prone, your body becomes more prone to get type 2 diabetes. So a woman with a high level of insulin and having all these particular background parameters like the obesity, overweight, less of the physical activity, and unhealthy eating habits becomes more prone to getting the type 2 diabetes. So basically, I listed down two reasons. One is the high level of androgen, and the second one is high level of insulin. Both are hormones which are responsible for maintaining different functionalities, but their levels which needs to be lower in case of women. But now if their levels turns out to be higher in a woman, which is unexpected, these are found to be the ideal cases which can go into a PCOS case. Of course, there are other factors also, but the more prominent ones I've listed down here. Now, can you get pregnant with PCOS? So whenever any couple or basically a married woman approaches with you and she has a problem with irregular periods, she has a problem with infertility, and if she also sees the particular symptom that we listed down before, then definitely you know that it is a category of PCOS, and she comes with a hope to you to ask whether there is a possibility of her getting pregnant. Definitely your answer should be S, to motivate her. No doubt there are going to be challenges, but all those challenges can be addressed. And also I would like to mention is 95% of times the PCOS can be in controlled state. And definitely we cannot cure it 100%, but 95% is a good task wherein a woman can live a healthy life. She can also become pregnant and bear the children and have a healthy life even if she has a PCOS. So we know that PCOS is a common reason for infertility, and definitely it can be treated. So why it's a common reason for infertility, we have already discussed before, because egg, a good egg is not produced. That may be one reason. Or definitely whatever the egg that is produced is ultimately not released. So that can make you infertile. Now, why also it occurs? We have also seen because hormonal imbalance basically interferes with the growth and the release of the egg from the ovaries. In our previous slide, we had seen how the particular uh, androgen can affect this particular part. We already seen in the last slide. But definitely, whenever a particular patient approaches you, and if you find this kind of cases, then definitely you have to give some sort of the medications to your particular patient in order to start the ovulation. So there are two cases over here. One is you start the particular treatment by observing the follicle size, and if you find out that the follicles is growing up but it is not growing to an extent of what is expected for a healthy egg, then definitely you can start one level of treatment wherein the follicle size can increase to some extent, so it becomes ideal size for conceiving. And once it becomes ideal size for the conceiving, you can start with a second level of the treatment, which enables it to release that particular egg into your fallopian tube. So there are two levels of treatments that are possible based on the scenario. And for that, you need to definitely first go for the ultrasound of the ovaries, and based on that the picture will be more clear. And definitely during this particular process, you definitely need to ask the particular patient to go for multiple ultrasound so that you can monitor the development of the follicles. Definitely the woman as such needs to also maintain her ovulation calculator chart to identify the fertile window, because since her periods becomes irregular, maintaining a particular chart to find out her ovulation date is very important. And again, I'm repeating, two ideal particular parameters that needs to be tested is your body, the change in your body temperature. The second thing is you can always look out for LH particular hormone, luteinizing hormone. So those are strips are available, and check if your LH levels are increasing. And if it has reached a peak level, that is the ideal time that you have ovulated. So here I would like to share a picture of this particular woman who had a PCOS, but she has successfully has become a pregnant. This is also one more woman, that the same one which I had seen in the previous slide, has successfully delivered a particular baby girl. This is one more case of mine who have successfully delivered a baby girl with the PCOS case. I've just listed on three of them, but definitely more are also available. Having seen this, can PCOS link to other problems? So definitely from the previous slide, we have a hope that a woman with the PCOS can become pregnant, and definitely there are treatments available which can make a woman pregnant, and she can also lead a normal healthy life after the delivery. So now we are going to discuss, is PCOS linked to any other heart problems? Definitely the most common problem is diabetes, and the reason also why I've told you, because of high levels of insulin. And we basically called it as pre-diabetes because the glucose intolerance is developed in your body. So that results in generation of basically a type 2 diabetes. You are also more prone to high blood pressures. So if your particular pressure shoots up, then definitely you are bound to get heart disease, or you may also get the stroke. So you need to be careful. The third reason, it may result in generation of unhealthy cholesterol. So you may find in your blood a higher levels of LDL, which is basically bad cholesterol, and a low level of HDL, which is basically a good cholesterol. So with this parameter, you may also find this ultimately results in also increase in your pressure and makes you more prone to heart disease as well as the strokes. You may also get a symptom of sleep apnea, wherein when you are sleeping, momentarily or repeated, you find shortness of the breath, and definitely you get up from your sleep. It is more common in a woman who is overweight and who is obese. So we basically call that particular symptom as a sleep apnea, wherein you suddenly tend to wake up from your sleep with the shortness of breath. Other particular symptoms is many a times the woman can go into a depression and anxiety. These are common factors because this is related to the hormonal imbalance that is created. And the most dangerous out of it is you might get something called as endometrial cancer. Now, what are the reasons why you may get this kind of endometrial cancer? And what is endometrium? It is basically the inner lining of your uterus. So you may also get uterine cancer, or we basically term it also as endometrial cancer. Now, why you can get endometrial cancer is because, first of all, there is a problem with your ovulation, as we have seen before. You are already obese. You become insulin resistant because your body has high level of insulin. That pushes you into a diabetes phase, which is most common in women with PCOS. And this basically, all these parameters increases the risk of developing a cancer of the lining of uterus. And that lining of uterus, we basically call it as endometrium. As such, the cancer gets the name as endometrial cancer. So out of all these other parameters, no doubt, these are also needs to be treated and you need to be also worrying about it. But the most dangerous that I find in this case is if the PCOS is left untreated, is many women nowadays also get endometrial cancer. And once this is detected, then your level of treatment goes to the next stage, wherein you may have to take the particular chemotherapy, radiations, and so on to tackle the particular spread of the cancer. So it's always a better practice that if you have PCOS, you get treated on time so that you try to avoid these complications in your life. Now, what are the diagnoses that are available to identify if you have PCOS? So first, when a particular doctor, when a patient approaches a particular doctor, the first and foremost examination will be the physical examination, wherein when you will be checking the blood pressure, you will be computing the body mass index. So BMI will basically tell you whether you're overweight or not. Basically, your waist size will be also taken. You are going to observe if there are extra hair on the face, chest, back, so that what I discussed before, that can be done at the physical examination at the first visit. You may also have the acne or the skin discoloration patterns seen. And definitely, you will also find there is a heavy loss of hair or the other healthy condition such as the enlargement of the thyroid gland. So these are also particular symptoms associated with the PCOS and which can be easily identified with the first physical examination which a doctor can do with the patient. Next level is the pelvic examination. So basically in this you may find a signs of extra male hormone. So estrogen, as we've seen, which is in particular male hormone. Now we have already seen what problems it can create in terms of the hair growth, but also we see that a high level of that also results in generation of an enlarged clitoris area. So when a doctor is doing a pelvic examination and observes an enlarged clitoral area of a particular female, definitely it indicates that there are high level of the estrogen. We can also check and see if the ovaries are enlarged or swollen, and it can be done by this process. So the doctor can inject the particular fingers into a vaginal cavity. It can press this particular portion and can feel roughly whether the ovaries are swollen or not. But more appropriate will be the next level wherein you do the ultrasound of your pelvic. But at the first level of investigation, this particular checkups can be done to get a fair idea is whether the patient is really a category of PCOS or not. Next level is a pelvic ultrasound, or basically called as also sonogram, which is basically needs to be done in a lab. So wherein we basically exactly specify for these details. So first and foremost, we try to examine your ovaries for the cyst and follicles. So I already explained you in case of the PCOS how a particular structure of the ovary looks like, and also I have told you inside how the follicles differ. So that needs to be examined through the sonograph. Other thing we also recommend is to check the endometrial level. So endometrial is nothing but the inner lining of uterus. And as I told you, if the PCOS is not treated for too long, you are also bound to get endometrial cancer. So definitely we also recommend this particular checkup along with your ovary size as well as the follicles in it, and which can be easily found out in your pelvic ultrasound. Further, we also recommend simultaneously to carry out your blood test. So we basically look out for the androgen hormone level test. We do TSH, this is a thyroid hormone test. We go for cholesterol levels. As I told you, good and bad cholesterol levels get disrupted when you have a PCOS. And we also test for your normal diabetes test. So these are hormonal level. Of course, along with these additional tests, if required, can also be done. But these are the common test that blood test that needs to be done if a patient have a symptoms of PCOS. Now this is the sonogram or the pelvic scan, and definitely I have put up some of the images here of polycystic ovaries. So basically if you see here, this is your ovary right and left, and these are those follicles that you see. And in the previous particular slide, I had shown you that all the particular follicles remain of the same size. Once they stop its developmental process, then they tend to create multiple follicles. So if you see here, all these follicles, they are almost of the same size. So this results in a generation of polycystic ovary. So here also, if you find none of them is good enough to be matured into a particular healthy egg. Of course, you may find that this particular has developed to some extent, but definitely it is not as per what is requirement. This is another image which you find a lot of unevenness, and you may find a lot of follicles, a polycystic ovary over here. So these are the scan images which indicates whether your ovary is polycystic or not. Now, what are the treatments that are available at home? These are the treatments I basically recommend to the patients which they can try out at their home. The first and foremost is definitely you are obese, you are overweight, so you need to lose your weight. For doing it, you can stick to a healthy eating habits, and you need to regularly do your physical activity. So minimal, you need to walk for 30 minutes. That is a minimal criteria. If you can manage more than that, it is well and good. You need to lower your content of the sugar intake and improve the way that your body uses the insulin. So you need to eat healthy habits, eating good particular or balanced diet, have physical activities, cut down your sugar levels intake. And also I recommend to a patient that if you tend to lose your 10% of the body weight, then you have a good significant chance of conceiving. And also improving your particular conditions on PCOS. So if a patient is suppose comes with you with 80 kg, and if even if the patient is able to lose about 8 kg, then definitely the patient, I would say, have 30 to 40% higher chances of conceiving than the maintaining just a level of 80. So even if a 10% body weight is lost, then definitely the chances of your pregnancy increases drastically. Then we can also use, as you know, that the hair growth is a prominent factor in PCOS. So a particular woman can go for removing of the hair or some supplements which slows down the particular growth of the hair. Now there are, for removing of the hair, definitely your hair removal creams are available, laser treatments are available, electrolysis is also available to remove the excess of the hair. So a woman may also find awkward if the large amount of hair growth is present to go and visit the public spaces. So at that time, we recommend either laser treatment if the hair growth is more, or even electrolysis. And of course, the hair removal creams, they also work to some extent, but we also give some particular supplements which controls the growth of the hair. Now, these supplements are given ultimately to control the growth of, control the generation of that hormone. So once you start regulating the hormone, definitely automatically the hair growth will get reduced. Now here I have listed down some of the foods that is more ideal to eat. So first and foremost, try to have a brown rice instead of a normal rice because you are diabetic. You are more prone to diabetes in this. Try to have some raw nuts. Try to have sprouts. Broccoli is a very good in case to deal with the infertility problems. Even the onion and the garlic are also good indicators to address the infertility. Plus one more thing I would like every woman with the PCOS to have is a wheatgrass. So you can prepare the pots around 10 pots and you can sow the particular seeds of the rice, and as they sprout like this, then definitely what you can do is every day in a week you can cut this particular grass one from the one pot, and you can basically make a juice of it. You need not boil it. You can just smash it, and then you can have either half glass or 1 glass of this particular juice every day, and go on repeating it for almost on a weekly basis. So as you are removing the particular grass, also make sure that you are sowing new seeds. So that particular pot becomes available to you maybe after 8 or 10 days. So this process can repeat, and this is found to be a very good indicator of showing a good improvement in case of PCOS as well. So I always recommend my particular patients to have this, which they can try out at home apart from the medicines which the doctors is giving. Now, what are the treatments that are available? So first and foremost, there are two cases. If a patient comes to you who is been diagnosed with the PCOS in a later stage, wherein suppose she already had her pregnancy first and afterward she is diagnosed with PCOS, then she has no intention of becoming a pregnant again. So we will have in that case one level of treatment for this woman. So basically a common particular treatment we recommend is some sort of a hormonal birth control pills. So basically the category comes as the birth control particular strategies which ultimately inhibits the growth of your hormone. So they can come either in the form of the pills or patch, or it can be also a small sort of the injection shot, what we call a vaginal ring, or and also in terms of the hormonal uterine devices or IUDs. Now, what are the advantages of doing this? So it helps to regulate your particular menstrual cycle. So your menstrual cycle, which was irregular, it tries to make it somewhat regular. Definitely, one more advantage that we see in this kind of woman is definitely where we are able to reduce the risk of endometrial cancer, which is wherein the women are more prone to this. So definitely this risk becomes less once we start this kind of a treatment. It definitely also helps to reduce your acne, your extra hair growth on the face as well as body. So this is one level of treatment what we start, which controls this particular parameters in a woman. Along with that, we can also start with anti-androgen medicine, which basically lowers down your androgen levels in the body. But definitely, we don't recommend it to a woman who may plan to conceive again in the future particular period of time, because usually these drugs were found, it can cause some problems if you plan your pregnancy anyway further down the line. But if the woman has decided that she doesn't want to become pregnant henceforth, then, and if this hormonal levels shows too much imbalance, then definitely we can also give the anti-androgen medicines. The other one that we have found is metformin. So this is basically used to treat your type 2 diabetes. And how does it work? It basically lowers your insulin as well as the androgen level. And this, once the androgen levels have been regulated, definitely it also helps to start with your ovulation. So these are broadly a particular category of the medicines that can be used to treat a patient that comes with you who had no intention of becoming pregnant in future. Again, each case, as I said, is different. So it doesn't mean that whatever particular things are put up here are only the particular medicines available. So you need to identify each particular woman's case, her other particular problems that are associated with it, and then decide on the right particular medicine to be given. The next particular category is the woman who wants to become pregnant. So definitely the first thing that I tell them is you need to lose your weight. And definitely this can be done by n number of ways which I listed down before, having a healthy balanced diet, physical exercise, intake, lowering the intake of your glucose and so on. So those parameters you need to particular get into place first. So basically losing a weight is getting your body from the apple shape to an pear shape. The other medicine we also can start with the treatment, which we can prescribe a particular medicine which enables the patients to ovulate. As I told you in previous cases, we start with two levels of treatments. One is development of the egg, and once we know that the egg is developed to an required size, then we start with the next level of treatment that deals with the release of the egg. So we can prescribe the medicines which helps to ovulate. And one of the common particular medicine that is basically given is Clomid. But nowadays we also restrict this. So although I mentioned a particular medicinal name here, but you need to also check other vital parameters in a woman before suggesting this particular medicine. Other particular last option, if these particular things are not working, then definitely the last option we go is for the surgery, wherein we do something called as the ovarian drilling. So I'll be showing you later slide what is ovarian drilling. It's basically a sort of a drilling done in your ovaries. But the problem with this is once you have gone through this surgery of ovarian drilling, it restores your ovulation, but that ovulation may that window of that ovulation may last for about 6 to 8 months. So you may regularly ovulate for a gap of 6 to 8 months. So usually this is a surgery that ovarian drilling is basically the last process, because if the previous one doesn't work, but before doing it, you need to get all the other parameters of the woman as well as the men if they have any problem in line, because once you do ovarian drilling, then definitely you have only a window of 6 to 8 particular months to conceive. Otherwise, it may come back in the previous shape as well. So all the other parameters needs to be in place when you plan out the ovarian drilling. So definitely this very small window what you have, you can utilize it to the maximum level. Now, how a PCOS can affect the pregnancy. So if you have become a particular pregnant by following one of these methods, and how in your pregnancy, what care you need to take. So a woman with the PCOS have also a higher chances of miscarriage, but definitely this, we basically prescribe the medicines to this woman so that this particular thing doesn't happen. The endometrial, loosening of the endometrial doesn't take place. Next one, definitely a woman is more prone to gestational diabetes. So first of all, a woman with PCOS is more prone to type 2 diabetes, and gestational diabetes is the one that a woman basically gets it during the pregnancy phase, and there are chances that it may be propagated to the growing fetus. So anyway, the woman is more prone to diabetes, so definitely chances of getting gestational diabetes increases with your PCOS. And the problem is preeclampsia. So that is what happens here is, as we know that your blood pressure increases, and as such it creates a problem in the kidneys. So what is this problem is it tries to flush more particular blood or the fluid to the kidneys to particular process, and the associated problems as with the particular kidney is which we basically call it as preeclampsia. So basically we're dealing with high blood pressure, so a lot of blood is being pushed into your particular kidney for the filtration process that increases the load on your kidney, and you may also get a kidney related problems. A one with a PCOS is definitely also can get a problem during a C-section. So that is also a related case. Most of the time, the woman with the PCOS, we go for a C-section rather than for the vaginal delivery. But it doesn't mean that all the cases will be of C-section. Of course, there are cases wherein a woman has also done a vaginal delivery with the PCOS. But definitely, if we need to go for C-section, then definitely it can create a problem, little bit problem, if you have a PCOS. Now here is some of the procedures that I've highlighted. So this is your laparoscopic procedure, which we basically do for the ovarian drilling. So this is the laparoscope, which is a minimal invasive surgery, which all of you must be knowing. So we just drill the holes in your abdominal cavity and insert this, so that the advantage of this surgery is you have minimal invasion. As such, the recovery is fast, and you are less prone to getting the infection. This, if you see, is the ovary. Definitely the particular it is polycystic ovary. So definitely surface is not small. You can find a small granules here on the surface of it. So in ovarian drilling, what we basically do is like a normal drill. We try to drill these particular follicles inside here in the ovaries. So basically, this is the image that you may see, ovary which has done a particular ovarian drilling process. So this is a particular thing that you basically find over here. And of course, here as well, you may see a particular image of the particular ovaries, which is polycystic in nature and which has ultimately gone for ovarian drilling process. Now, what preventive care can be taken during the pregnancy? So first and foremost is reaching a healthy weight. So if you are diagnosed with a PCOS, and then definitely before trying to conceive, you need to make sure that you have a healthy weight. So I always give the example of that apple to pear classification. So you plan out that you lose a substantial amount of weight before you try to conceive, because during pregnancy also you tend to get more weight. Next thing is reaching a healthy blood sugar levels before you can get a particular pregnant. So this is also very important. And definitely you need to also take a folic acid supplements prior to your conceiving, because it helps in a lot of process. Even during the conceiving process, and once you're conceived, it also helps in the later stage. You need to continue your folate supplements because it also deals with the neural particular development of your fetus. So first and foremost, the preventive care that is to be taken is you definitely needs to maintain a healthy weight. Next thing, you need to control your blood sugar levels because you are more prone to gestational diabetes. And of course, you are also more prone to type 2 diabetes. So obviously you may have a high chances of getting gestational diabetes. So definitely your diet is the most important thing, to increase a daily calorie of by 300 a day. So, and try to eat healthy food as I shown here, which may be a combination of the vegetables, the fruits, the yogurts, and so on, and avoid unhealthy or junk foods. You need to constantly do your exercise to lose your weight, and this exercise will also help you to reduce your fatigueness, and it will keep your particular body active, and definitely it will regulate also the generations of the required hormones. You need to make frequent visits to your doctor to get yourself checked, because there are little bit more complications that can arise when you have a PCOS. So definitely the number of checkups that you may have to go with your doctor may also increase compared to the normal case. So this is what you need to know all about your PCOS.